Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Trevor with the quick update. I'm over in the Genting Highlands in Malaysia, just outside of Kuala Lumpur. Really pumped to share this next episode with you guys. Have my guys Scotty Russell and Ben Hagarty on the show, so it's gonna be a fun one where we touch base on advice that we would give our 18-year-old selves to help kick off the second month of this year and hopefully get you going in the right direction to hit your goals. Ciao, guys. Take care. What's going on, everyone? It's Trevor Carlson, host of the Formula Podcast, where we break down and explore the elements of health, wealth, happiness, and achievement with amazing guests from all over the world. And today, I have two friends of mine with me to share the words of advice that they would give to their 18-year-old selves.
All right, I'll go first. So my name is Scotty Russell. I create and teach and speak under the name Perspective Collective. I do illustrations, hand lettering, murals, and I also host the weekly Perspective podcast, creative fuel for your mind and grind. All right, connect with me at Perspective-Collective or Perspective Podcast.
He's a beast. I'm Ben Hagarty. I go by Ben vs. World on the internet. I'm a photographer, videographer, director, creative director. I do a bunch of stuff. I have a creative collective called Black Widow Cream. It's like a community of creators of all different kinds that I pooled together. And I have a podcast where I speak with a bunch of like-minded creatives that are killing it in the industry and try to get their tips and tricks and provide them to my community and stuff. So,
all right, now on to the show.
This episode is brought to you by Ladyboss. Ladyboss is the first global weight loss and support community for women. Their mission is to help women lose weight while loving themselves. They help women get their confidence back, improve the overall quality of their life, and change the health of the entire family. They do this through providing the best information, products, and services possible in fitness, nutrition, and accountability. Ladyboss. Over 1,309,573 women supported and counting. To sign up for Ladyboss, head to the sponsored products page on theformulapodcast.com. Now, back to the show.
Scotty, Ben, thanks for hanging out today on this episode of The Formula. Yeah. Appreciate you guys. You just flew in from doing some crazy shit in LA and overseas, right?
yep, overseas, and then I went home to LA, and then I came home to Iowa.
Yeah.
For holidays.
Yeah? Is it good to be back?
It feels great.
Yeah.
My stomach is now getting back to normal because I was eating like South African food and then was in Dubai and eating that shit, and then, can I swear?
Yeah, you can swear.
My bad.
I'm offended.
Indian food, and then we were in Hong Kong for a second, and now, so my stomach was messed up.
Yeah, what were you doing overseas?
Touring with Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Anyways, moving on. No, just kidding. What was that like?
It was crazy. We had already done a full US and Europe and UK tour for like 6 months, and then we had like 3 weeks off, and then we went to South Africa for Global Citizens Festival, which is like a massive, like everyone's there to raise money they raised like $7 billion.
Jesus.
Because it live streams and there's all this stuff, and they raise so much money, and it goes to like several different causes and tons of nonprofits. Like Oprah was there speaking, like Dave Chappelle keynote speak. It was super cool. But they headlined the event, so it was pretty incredible. And then we went to Dubai just to kill time, so that was cool. And then went to India for this wedding. The richest guy in India hired Beyonce to perform at his daughter's wedding.
That's crazy.
He's like the 8th richest person on earth. I don't know his name, but it was pretty fucking wild.
Yeah.
It was something else. So we did that. It was cool.
What do you think the biggest thing you learned doing all that this over the last 8-10 months was?
Man, I don't know. I learned about how I'm able to dedicate myself to things to another higher level. I already thought I was like built in endurance. I put that down on my list of 10 things, but it was like building endurance.
Yeah.
Training yourself to be able to like handle payloads like that. And I just give so much or provide so much in my mind that I just didn't know I could do it at that level, which is cool. That I was capable of handling it because I was just like outputting content and creating content and documenting and doing different things like at a just a ridiculous level with a small team. So it was cool. Yeah. I don't know if I learned anything.
Don't know if I learned. No, it sounds like you learned a lot, and we'll touch base on that again, I'm sure, when we go through the. It
was fun. It was crazy.
So Scotty, thanks for stopping by as well. What's going on with you? You're a dad now?
How do I even follow that up? This isn't even fair. Why did you even ask me first?
This shit's so rare for me to have some.
He just went traveling overseas back to LA here. I just traveled 10 minutes down the road, changing diapers this morning.
Yeah, but you're a beast. You have the craziest payload of all. Endurance is next level with this guy.
Yeah, no, kid mode. Almost 4 months. Well, I don't know when this drops exactly, but yeah, pretty much got a 4-month-year-old, little Scotty the third, little Dougie Fresh, whatever you want to call him.
Little Dougie.
Yeah, life as a dad is a trip right now. So I was telling you earlier, you never really realize how selfish you are with your time until you actually have a little one that every decision you make affects more than just yourself now. So yeah, that's finding that new routine. It feels like every 2 weeks is a new routine, and I thrive off routine, but change is good. So this is definitely the biggest change ever. 30 years old, kid, new haircut after cutting my own hair for 15 years. Shit's crazy these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think the biggest thing you learned from being a dad is so far?
Patience. That's in my list too, but patience.
Yeah.
I'm so used to being able to just drop whatever I'm doing, say yes, this looks like a good opportunity. Not a hell yes, but just like something that looks interesting. I would drop whatever I was doing and do this, but now it's like there's so much other things in life that require my attention, basically him. So, he's crying. It's like a human. What are you supposed to do? I can tell my cats to quit, and I can put them in a bathroom and lock the doors just so I can finish recording an episode. But if the kid's crying,
can't lock them up.
Life goes on pause. So, patience. I realized that maybe I wasn't a very patient person, and that's a good characteristic to have in life. So he teaches me something new every day, which is dope. Yeah. That a 2-year-old or a 4-month-old who shits himself can constantly teach me something. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah. That's crazy. We're all the same age, and I think about being a dad, and I'm like, I don't know. That shit just seems like it's on another level.
Right.
Like it's
This time last year, I thought the same thing. So yeah. It's dope.
Yeah. So would you recommend Ben and I to have kids at this age?
Whenever you're ready. Yeah. No, you're grinding. Grind it, live the dream right now. And not necessarily you can't live the dream, but there's new ways to approach things.
Yeah. You talked about that a little bit earlier with these other guys who are like, oh, you're gonna have to give it all up. But I don't think those were probably the guys that were doing what you were doing before you had a kid, right?
No, well, some of them were, and now they're just like radio silence, but they feel, you have this new chapter in life, you can't do anything else. And I'm just like, no, just be intentional. They're the same people who wing it each day.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work for me.
Yeah. Right.
Or any of you guys, I don't feel like so.
No. I don't know if any of us would be sitting here if we just winged it every day.
No.
But what's your break down your schedule real quick, because I love you telling us about your schedule. This shit's crazy. The way he fine tunes his day to literally increments and minutes. It's like we were just talking about this before we started recording. But I love whoever's listening to this shit should hear this because it's dope.
So my next day starts the night before. Actually, Sunday is when I lay out my biggest tasks. I have this thing called the A1 formula. So
A1.
I got A1 steak sauce. So
that's right.
My title, anything in the week that's a top priority gets labeled A1 through A5. Anything that's really, really somewhat urgent, but it's okay, it doesn't need to get done in it right away, is B1 through 5. C is nice to have, and D eliminates. So each day I plan that A1 task for the next day, and any B1 or typically not C, that doesn't happen. But yeah, each day, one thing a day, and then everything else kind of spreads out through that. So my next day always starts the night before, what's left on that task sheet, and wake up early. Usually lately it's about 4:30 a.m. and grind till about 6:30, then take my son to daycare by 7, get to work the day job, hustle on my 2 10-minute breaks, hustle on my lunch breaks, and go to the gym and tap into dad mode. So yeah.
And then you're at dad mode until you wrap it up for the night.
Dad mode, tell a little Scotty, Dougie Fresh, Scott Trey Money. No.
This is only 4 months in. Imagine 8 months.
Oh, dude, Skididdle, Skid Mark, all of it. Dude, I got all of it.
Skid
Little
Mark.
stinky boy. But no, I'll put him to bed at 8-ish if I'm shushing him or my wife's putting him down. And then I have from 8 to 9 to either grind a little bit more, just have me in alone time with my wife, depending on what she's got planned for the night. So being intentional with you can get a lot done. What is it? I read recently like 15 minutes a day for a month equals up to like an 8-hour day. So if you say you don't have time, but you can put in 15 minutes each day, like that adds up and gives you an 8-hour full work day. And if I had like a full 8 hours just to grind on Perspective Collective, I would get so much done.
Yeah.
So don't bullshit yourself and say you can't do something if, I can make something happen. So with the day job and a kid.
Yeah, and I think this is something we're going to talk about because I think all three of us has this on our list for some reason. I don't know, but it's like protecting your time.
Protecting your time.
Yeah, and being intentional with your time. Well, yeah, and choosing things that you actually give a shit about.
Right.
So, and I think I can segue us into actually talking about why we're here today. So I reached out to you guys probably a few months ago, and I found out you were going to be back for Christmas, and I've had you on. I don't know, 2-3 times. It's been great every time so far.
Yeah.
And I wrote this article about a year ago when I turned 30. I was like, man, 30 years old, I should be really smart and have something smart to say, like in my old age.
Right.
And I couldn't come up with anything, right? So I sat around for a while and I was like, I don't know shit. Like I don't really know. I don't feel like I know that much. And I kept thinking about it and I was like, who would I even write this to? Like what? Who would need to hear this? And I thought about, for me, it was like my 18-year-old self, because I was going through kind of a rough patch at that point. Didn't have a ton of friends growing up, didn't have a lot of people that had things in common with. So I wrote out this article, released it, I didn't think anybody would care, to be honest. A bunch of people read it and responded really well. So I was kind of hoping that I could hear, maybe from each of you, like 10 things you would tell your 18-year-old self if you could talk to them,
right?
Today. So, and then I tried to come up with another list of 10 that I didn't use last year. So hopefully there'll be something new and useful in there for anybody who read that thing. So, you want to get us started? I
put mine together this morning. So I did it real quick. So I feel like your article may have been more.
I've never had homework on a podcast.
I know. That's why I was like, woke up this morning. I was like, oh shit, I gotta be there in an hour and a half. And I was literally just taking a shit, like coming up with.
You want to know?
It's the best thoughts.
I did the same thing this morning because I forgot that I told you guys to do it and I was like, I suck.
Right.
And I'm like,
it is what it is.
I was waiting for you guys to show up with like a binder. I put a lot of time into this.
Nope.
I'm disappointed, guys.
And we've all got our phones out. Like
I made this all last night before bed.
Oh shit! You beat us both.
Noodle on it.
My first one I wrote down was something my dad always started telling me later into college. I'm sure he's told it to me before when I was 18, but I would tell myself to not sell myself short. Because it's just very easy to get into a habit of giving a lot, which I think you should give, and I don't want to talk too much about it because that's something else I want to talk about, but like just not selling yourself short on your value, on your amount of work you're putting in. Like you deserve whatever you're going to get in return for that, right? So be open to that, but definitely earn your keep, So I don't know, that's the first one I put down.
Yeah. I mean, we were just talking about that a little bit ago where you're talking about like selling your first coaching products and stuff like that. I think it's really relevant because if I think back to when I started my career,
yeah,
I was like, oh yeah, $20 an hour, I'll do that for you. And then I think about it now and I'm like, Jesus, like I cannot believe I did that for that cheap. Or people would even try to negotiate me down from there.
Right.
Or, do it for exposure.
Yeah, deal with that all the time. I like that too because you get back what you put in and a lot of people just half-ass shit. Like if you're just going to show up and say you're going to do something, what's the point of just like, putting your toe in and not going full in, full out?
Right.
Yeah, I dig that one.
Yeah. You want to do yours next?
Okay, yeah, mine are in no particular order. First one is patience and consistency will always pay off.
Yeah.
And especially in this culture, especially with our, era, our generation, we all see these YouTube celebrities and everything, and we expect things to happen overnight. And back then, I wanted everything to happen like ASAP. And growing up, not having a lot or popularity, being tormented and bullied, I wanted like all these good things to come my way. And looking back on it from 18 to where things are now, it's like, damn, just patience, put in your work, put in your time, invest all the way, and being consistent and patience like that, really compounds interest. A lot of good things can happen. So, tell myself at 18, just chill out, put your head down, stay busy, grind in the silence.
Yeah.
Yo, could you imagine where you would be if you at 18 started implementing your schedule that you have right now?
Yeah, I was too busy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Time we fucking wasted doing stupid shit.
Hollering at girls.
Yeah.
Hollering
Fuck.
at girls.
I just, they would be crazy now to have thrown that into,
I know.
that's why these kids at this age are starting to hear this shit through podcasts and things like that. These dudes that took fucking 10 years to figure it out, they're starting relaying it, and now you have people that are at 18 years old making millions of dollars through their YouTube channels because they're sitting there saying like, all right, cool, consistency, boom, 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 do all this.
Consistency, frequency, yes.
Crazy.
Yep. Listening to Gary Vee.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Exactly. Except I have mixed feelings about Gary Vee, but I got something
There's
on my
gold
list
there.
about that.
Yeah. What's yours?
My first one, time is the most important asset that you have, so protect it the best you can. So if I think back to, partying the first couple years of college, really just fucking off all the time, and I'm like, I look at now how much, I feel like in the last 4 months, my eyes really got opened up to how much I don't know. And I spent some time around some really, really smart people, and I'm like, oh my God, like how they've spent their lives and where they're at now, how much knowledge and experience and success they've had. And then I'm like, what was I doing when they were doing this stuff? I was, partying, doing that stuff. So I'm trying to make up for that time now. Right. So I would tell my 18-year-old self, like, yeah, have fun, enjoy yourself, but dude.
I like that. If you don't protect your time and use it wisely, someone else is going to waste your time for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially when you're 30 and you realize all these things move around right now. Everybody wants a piece of your time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The first, we should also note, shout out to this coffee.
Oh yeah.
Corey.
What was it? Corey?
Corey.
Corey made us some fine ass coffee. I think it says Colombian import.
Yeah.
Pour over.
I've never had some. Well, yeah. I don't know if I've ever had anybody take that much pride in making their own.
Definitely isn't Folgers.
Yeah.
My second one was nothing happens overnight, which I know. I think we're gonna have mad crossover.
We're gonna have
it's
a lot of cross.
But it literally doesn't happen overnight. Like to tour, for me to have tour with Beyonce and shit is just like nuts, right? Like it's still. I don't think I've had time to think about how nuts it is. It just happened so fast. But like, I was here 3.5 years ago. You know what I mean? In Iowa, like shooting.
I remember your YouTube videos, your spoof videos of Lil Wayne. That's where I first discovered.
Like there's a lot of videos.
Like early YouTube days, man.
I was doing some jokes and shit.
Yeah.
Man, there's like.
It was like over 10 years ago.
Yeah, I was making content all the time, but I didn't know what it was, and it's like that all added up. Like everything I did added up to this type of shit. So it's easy note. Yes.
Yeah.
Patience is the same thing.
Yeah, it's kind of easy to see it looking back. When you're in that moment, though, it's like, you just want to get there so fast.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like one foot after the other, though.
Yeah, you gotta chill.
Yeah. Scotty?
All right, well, I did have one about time, most valuable asset, but I think you hit it pretty well. So this one is say yes to a lot of things until you get to a point where you can say no. And it took me to like the age of 30 to finally get to this point where I could start saying no to things because I know what I really want, or I have this vision. I know exactly who I want to become and what I want to leave behind as a legacy, I guess, for my son. But before the last, I guess, 8 years, especially out of college, I've said yes to everything. Logos, t-shirts, drawing on just random objects, just saying yes to every opportunity that came my way until I figured out, like, no, I don't want to do this shit. People suck in the wedding industry. I don't want to deal with brides anymore. Like, I figured out all these different things, which all led me to what I do want to say yes to right now. So say yes, experiment, be open to taking on everything until you realize, like, yo, I don't want to do this anymore. This is what really sets my spirit on fire. I'm going to say yes to more of these things and say no to these things that just feel like time wasters, or they don't like make me feel fulfilled. So say yes until you say no.
Yeah.
I had that same shit written down. We should have looked at these
I
before
know.
we started,
I
because
know.
I literally say
So this
yes
is
till
going
you
to
say
turn
no.
into like
It's just
5
the same.
things you're going to tell yourself.
Yeah.
Should we just if there's things that match like this, should we just all talk about that or what? Because I just completely agree with him.
Yeah.
Like,
I think we should
I
all
completely
talk
agree with you
everything.
about time.
Yeah.
it's fucking crazy. But I think like even saying yes till you can say no, like when I moved to LA, that was the same exact thing. I was saying yes, getting underpaid, not getting paid for fucking so long. But I had to find value out of those. Even my first tour, it wasn't paying very much money, but I had to understand like, okay, cool, I could parlay this into 3 more gigs. We talk about it in my podcast all the time. It's like, how can you use this to do X,
leverage.
Y, Z? Yeah,
You have to prove that you're able to do something over and over and over again before you can demand to like get paid a certain amount, and then you can tell everybody else no who doesn't want to meet your quota.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think about when I did a bunch of free internships in college. I mean, I was a psychology major doing like online marketing internships because somebody was like, dude, this is what you need to learn how to do. And I think back on that too, like going to college for psych. I love studying psych. I still read books on it now, but I probably could have maybe chosen a different major or not to go to college at all based on that. But you look back, it's easy to make that choice.
So getting in someone's head help you get ahead.
Yeah,
That's nice. I like that.
Something like that.
This is why you should buy.
Yeah. No, but that free internship unpaid internship turned into, learning the basics for online marketing like 7 years ago, and then being able to just kind of snowball that into what I'm able to do now. If I wouldn't have done that, there's no way I just would have spent the last 4 months overseas.
Right.
So I think you got to think about that too. It's like, where do you want to go? And then what's the next step? Because you're not going to, day one, you can't just be like, all right, well, I'm going to go tour with Beyonce. It's like when you haven't done anything, you have to like take it step by step.
Yeah, that's facts.
Yeah. Cool. I got my next one. So it's just says go sooner. So that means
Just start.
Yeah, just go sooner. Like, just start sooner. I mean, I feel like a broken record talking about traveling, but it was the scariest thing I've ever done, right? Like, everyone in Europe likes to tell me I grew up in a village in Iowa, because it is around like 2,000 people. And for the longest time, I've wanted to like go see the world and like meet people from different cultures, learn other languages, try different things. But, I would kind of just sit and like kind of stew on it, and think about it, and like, how could I do this, and think and think and think without actually doing anything. So whether that's like, going and trying something new, traveling, whatever it is, I would tell myself to go like you've already done enough thinking, just go do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah, like maybe when you went to LA for the first time, did you feel like you could have gone sooner?
No, totally. And it was even like us doing music and stuff, it was always, all right, cool, we're in Iowa and we're trying to make music, and we know this music it would expand quicker if we were in a metropolitan area, or we could be in like a major city somewhere. I always knew I needed to go to LA. I'm like, if we're in LA, like everyone's there. So this is going to be 10 times easier than waiting for someone to come through and we can open for them and then hope that opening could turn into a relationship and they could take us on the road with them and blah, blah, our life would change overnight. And so I always knew we had to go, but I did the same thing. I would sit and I would wait and I would think about it. But I was waiting more so for us to go together. I was waiting on other people to commit to our idea, but it was always my idea.
Yeah.
It was my idea for myself. I don't know.
Your vision.
Yeah, it was always my vision. And I just waited too long, and once I realized that maybe maybe I needed to convince everyone, I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll just go myself.
Yeah.
I went myself, and I did it with the hopes that people would follow along, and it is what it is. Everyone grows and goes in different branches, but I knew I needed to go. So once I was able to take that step forward and be like, all right, I'm out of here, things changed drastically, you know what I mean? And I got into it. I didn't know. I was blind, and it was scary, and you'll probably fail, but it was worth it. You know what I mean?
It's funny that you said you were waiting for someone for them to go with you, because I was doing the same thing. I was just like, oh no, I just need to find people that'll go with me. I need to find
backpack together.
Yeah, maybe I'll like bring my girlfriend with me. We can go. And then, I just woke up one day and I was 30, and I was like, shit, if I don't go do this, and I think it'll lead into a lot of other things, like where I want my career to go. Right. But it's like, I don't know, once you stop waiting, or maybe, I don't know if you felt the same, but once you stop waiting for somebody else and you kind of are like, well, if I'm going to do this, I got to do it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I'm going to pitch in on mine then. This is still overlaps, but I have a different flavor. I wasn't sure what the order is. It's like here, here, here. No, but my biggest one that I've learned, especially in like the last 5 years where things really started to click with Perspective Collective, was, yes, get uncomfortable, but do the shit that scares you, because I'm a big believer that, fear, your brain's just trying to protect you, all right? Basic old caveman instincts, but really I believe that fear is your intuition that's trying to nudge you to that person you're supposed to become, and those things that you're scared of are really is going to help you unlock that next level of things. And for me, those things that scared me were getting out of Iowa, going to a conference where I didn't know anybody, which led me to blogging and getting my voice out there, which then landed me a public speaking gig in that same conference I went to the year before. So, and then the podcast. So each little thing that terrified me is what has propelled me to that next version. So now it's like, what are those things that make you uncomfortable and scare you? Like, that's the shit you need to attack until you just normalize it and it just becomes a part of your routine.
Right.
So
I love that.
if there's shit out there that excites you at the same time, it terrifies you, that's pretty much your intuition, like trying to point you towards, like nudge you, like, yo, this is what you're supposed to do right now to become that future version of yourself. And your future version of yourself will be super stoked that your 18-year-old self actually went that direction.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
make your future self happy.
That's right.
Yeah.
That brings me to another one. That was play the long game.
Yeah.
I think when I was younger, I would come up with these like brilliant, like in my mind, brilliant business ideas, and I'd like go all in on them, and then I'd work on them for a few months, and I'd be like, I don't really even like this. Like, what am I doing? And I'm actually working on it now. I'm like looking at the next year for writing, podcasting, and all that. And I'm like, okay. I started putting together like a weekly plan, and then I realized I needed to like take a step back, ask myself where I'm going with it. Like, not just where do I want to be in 6 months or a year, but 5 or 10 years, because that's where all this stuff is really going to matter. So it's like, don't just play to like make the buck today, or to just do stuff to do stuff today. Think about where you want to end up and almost reverse engineer it from there.
That way, keep your eyes on the long game, but put yourself strategically in a position to play the short game to get to the long game.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're playing the right short game
Yeah.
to get to the long game, instead of just playing the easiest or most convenient short game.
Right, which will toss you around in a full fucking 360, and then you're lost and confused and you don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can help you though. I feel like I did a bunch of random shit that I was like, oh, I'm doing this, and didn't know.
Yeah.
I just got into it on accident, and then sometimes I can balance it out. But I mean, it's like going to college and you don't know what you want to do, and you're trying all these different classes to kind of figure it out,
Yeah.
But once I think you hone in on the thing, just really focus on that shit.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with you 110%, because you have to try something to know if you even like it or not, or
Yeah.
you're good at it.
Right.
So if you never try, then you're just kind of stuck.
Right.
So it's almost like trying stuff, figuring out where you want to go, and then once you have an idea, then be like, okay, it's probably something that doesn't come overnight, unless you're like one of those crazy people that when you're 10, you're like, I want to do this thing, and you just always want to do it.
Yeah.
Those lucky people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My other thing I had on my list was that like I'll always be a student. I hated school. I fucking hated learning school. You know what I mean? I hated it. I fucking hated it. I wanted to quit so many times. And it's funny because now my career involves having to be a student, and that will go on until retirement, until I quit or die. So it's like knowing that it's cool to understand that there's no end to that, and that I should be open to absorbing everything. And so it is the same thing as trying everything and learning. You know what I mean? Like I understand the value of delegating certain things, and that you can become stronger by giving things up. But having a vast knowledge in whatever your field is and those things that are around it helps you delegate, and it helps you control and master and be like a facilitator and leader, in the way where if I walk in now for, say, video, and I need VFX done for my video, and I walk in there and I just don't know how to talk to a VFX artist. But if I have spent a little time and understand that world a little bit more, it's easier to have those conversations.
Speak their language and bridge the gap.
And your idea comes to life easier versus just being like, well, I don't know. I don't even know how to talk like an idiot with VFX, but like, you know what I mean? Just to pitch things that are not realistic.
Yeah.
And to understand that, it helps a lot. So being a student is like, cool, I'm gonna be learning forever, and being cool with that. Like, I think a lot of people stale themselves out because they do the bare minimum, they learn it, it gets them their check, they get comfortable with that, and that's how dinosaurs happen. You know what I mean? That's how people, he's a dinosaur. But you could be fucking 80 in the game right now and be killing it.
Yeah.
there's no reason. Why not? Like you don't have to become a dinosaur. This shit is always changing. It's just about who learns how to use the technology and things like that.
Call it bricks versus sponges. Bricks is they don't see the value of continuing to learn. Knowledge is power. That's why a sponge is a lifelong learner, and you don't know what you don't know. So fuel your mind and consume as much as possible to know. But then there's like a flip side of this, which would be another lesson soon that I want to combat at. But yes, knowledge is power. That was one of mine. Had to dummy up on it.
Yeah, I like that. Did you feel like you missed your calling as a poet?
Didn't know it. No, no. I do like wordplay. I like wordplay, alliterations, all that. I'm a hip hop junkie on the side.
I see that.
Yep.
That's yeah.
Yep.
Did you have another one that you wanted to go?
So I would lead into this one. While knowledge is power, and you definitely need to know as much as possible. It's not about what you know. It's about who you know. Relationships are everything. So you can know everything in the world, but if you don't know the right people, build the relationships, find a way to give value to other people, there's only going to be so many doors that you can unlock for yourself, but sometimes you need someone else to unlock a door for you. So
No. Facts.
Yeah, relationships are everything.
Yeah, I'd second that, because most of the stuff I've been able to do it, most of the time it was people that knew what they were doing and they were nice enough to, show me the ropes or spend some time with me or help me out. Because I feel like a complete dumbass usually when I start most things, but the first thing I do is find someone who knows what the hell they're doing.
You never want to be the smartest person in the room, and then when you learn that knowledge, that way you can provide value to other people and build that relationship. So knowledge is important.
Yep.
I think I read it in a book a long time ago. It was one of my things. It was like, I fucking don't know the book or anything, so I can't credit this person, but they were talking about the idea of like giving without any hope of anything in return. And by doing that, this guy, I don't know who he was, but he like connected two people together that maybe like formed Nike, a scenario like that. Like this designer could be cool and this guy really likes clothes. They should meet each other, and he enters them. They create a Nike. He benefit from this in no way possible. But down the road, who knows what Nike did for him or whatever, So I think providing as much as you can, and I felt like that needed to happen when I moved. I've always done that, but moving to LA, I just tried to find my way into certain things by offering, hey, yo, you do this, maybe you should meet this person, this could connect you, or even for myself, like I could provide you with this that you didn't know you needed. Now here, boom, let's do this. I'll fly my drone in your music video that you hadn't planned for because you thought it cost too much. But now I can provide you those aerial shots that you didn't know you could get, and it makes your video look cooler. And you know what I mean? By providing that, you never know how that's going to come back to you. And I feel like it's served me tenfold. Like I've gotten so much from just giving everything I have. So I think that's like a crucial step. Like just provide and offer as much shit, but don't be greedy and expect like, I don't want to give this person my contact because then I can't ever use it again. You know what I mean?
Damn, number 8 on my list was always give more than you take. How can you serve people? Be kind and serve others, and once you have someone else top of mind that you're serving, somehow things come back to you. Yeah.
It's not on my list, but I had a conversation with a friend of mine in the Netherlands where I was like, hey man, thanks. He gave me a book before I left, and they like wrapped it and stuff, and I was like, shit, you didn't have to wrap it for me.
Sounds like a nice book.
It was a great book. It wasn't the book though. I was just
the gesture.
Yeah, the gesture. it just felt like it was one of like the nicest things that I felt like someone had done, and it was so small,
Right.
And I sent him a text. I was like, dude, thanks for that. That was cool. And he was like, I can't even remember the name. I'm gonna mess it up. It's like some type of gift where, by the act of doing it and me saying thank you, it's like offensive to say thank you because he's doing it for like the good of everyone, and he expects me to take that knowledge or whatever I learned from it and pass it on to someone else without asking for anything in return.
It's actually dope.
And I was like, okay.
He texted, hey man, thanks, that was cool. Fuck you, dude. Don't ever delete my number. Delete my number. Throw that book away. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It was, I don't know, he sent over a long explanation, and I got it when he sent it, and I was like, okay, that's cool. So this one was something that I didn't realize until recently. Like, there are just so many amazing people in the world. Don't waste time on people or jobs or really anything that doesn't really like if it's toxic or they don't give a shit about you. There's so much opportunity, so many people. Like, just fucking get rid of them or get rid of the job.
Trim the fat.
Yeah.
say that to people who are dating, like, in bad relationships all the time. I'm like, there's 7 billion motherfucking people on Earth, or whatever, however many people, correct me if I'm wrong. But there's too many people on Earth, and someone will sit there and spend years in a toxic relationship for what? Like, just throw a coin, go to any other city and just walk around and spend time there for a couple months, and who knows what could happen. Like, pick up and leave and just change your life. And that shit causes so much stress and anxiety and anger and all these things that people don't need in their lives, and it's so crazy to me that we do that to ourselves. You know what I mean? But it's the same thing with your job, like, or just anything that takes away time, especially with you talking about cracking down. Like, you have no time. Like, it's actually crazy to me to hear you say that you delegate 2 hours to Perspective Collective. Because from the outside looking in, it looks like you do 40 hours on that shit a week. 80 hours a week.
Good.
Do you know what I mean? Good. You portray that, but it's crazy to me to know that you only have 2, maybe 3 hours a day to give to your pride and joy.
Deep work and focus.
And that's crazy to me. But now add in visiting an old friend because they're in town and they miss you or whatever, and you just need to come. That takes an hour and a half. Then all of a sudden this and this, like that. You don't have that time, and it sucks that cool, we can't connect and talk about what we're doing and whatever. But what does that conversation do to you in the long run? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it becomes even more aware. You become even more aware of it when it gets tight. Because if someone that you don't really know is like, hey dude, can I buy you a coffee and just pick your brain on how to be an artist?
Dude,
happens every day.
So much.
All the time.
Yeah, but and this all dummies up off that. When you say yes to something, you're really saying no to something else.
Yeah.
So make sure you're being very strategic about the things and aware of the things you're saying yes to.
Right.
Yeah.
And if it's not a hell yes, then it's a hell no. It's like a filter that now runs through me. So.
I was talking with some friends about this. I was out on Saturday having some drinks and whatnot, and I don't remember what happened, but I was like, you guys know this is probably going to be like the only time I'll be out with you guys in the next year. Like, I'm leaving again, and I'm probably not coming back for a year. So, like, this is really important to me, and I'm here because I want to spend time with you guys.
Right.
Be present.
Yeah, and I'm like, you guys can come hang out every night of the week, but for me, this is like my one time. So
it's crazy, man.
Yeah. When you become aware of it, though, that's just like the most bizarre thing.
It'd be cool if you could do that at an earlier age.
Yeah.
Think about how many people you were becoming. Fuck, I always think about that. Like, think about how many people we were friends with in college. And I get that that's the whole thing. And honestly, that helps you grow and learn who to become and who not to become and all this shit. And it adds up. But it's like, it's really crazy to me to think, like, what if I would have moved and I meet people all the time in LA, actually.
Yeah.
People come up to me and be like, hey, man, I don't know why, just everyone always thinks I'm a lot younger than I am.
I get that too.
You're an old man.
30 years old, and people will be like,
that's me. That's
weird,
me.
right?
That's me.
But it's like, I don't know, and I'll talk to people and I'll meet people and I'll be like, man, so they did X, Y, Z, and they'll tell me about, I shoot for this artist and I did all this stuff. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. How old are you? And they're like, I'm 21. I'm like, that's incredible. I'm like, yo, keep going. Like, how old are you? And I'm like, I'm not 21. I'm
like you got a late start to the game.
Hell yeah, I got a late start. But at the same time, it wasn't a late start because it wasn't like I moved to LA and success happened. It is on paper, that's what happened. Like, how long have you been doing this in the industry? 3 years, right? Whatever. Yeah. But every year that I spent in Iowa wasn't time wasted. It was me growing and learning and adding value and studying and fucking growing my brand and my business. Not my brand, but like my business. Yeah. Understanding how to articulate things and be able to perform at a high level when I do move into those situations. But it's crazy to think about how much time you waste by just stupid shit. Yeah. And it is cool when you can cut those ties with certain things. And sometimes it's painful, but I think if you can give that up, you're adding a lot of value to your future because I'm only here for 30 years. There's so much time left. Yeah. You know what I mean? To kill this shit and to grow and build the things that you really care about. And it's like, who's going to be with me 20 years from now?
The people who matter the most will totally understand. The people who don't matter. Right. Yeah. The people who do care, they don't matter. Well, I don't know what that... People who mind don't matter, and people who matter don't mind. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that was Dr. Seuss. That wasn't me. Oh, no. Wish I could claim that.
Sounds like something Dr. Seuss would say.
Fireline.
It's yeah. I mean, there's so much you can go off with like that, and then tying that in with time as well, because it's I mean, my family picked me up from the airport, and I hadn't seen them in months, and like I feel like I've always had kind of a tense relationship with most of my family, and when I was spending time with them at home, I was like, man, this is really nice. Like we just sat and talked, and I felt like we were actually talking, like having a legit conversation.
Right.
Yeah, I don't remember ever having that kind of deep conversation before, but I think it was just like, shit, I haven't seen them in 4 months. I'm leaving again. It might be a year before I come back. God knows what could happen between now and then. And so this is like, all right, I want to sit, and it's more important now. And I found too that, you know, when you leave or whatever, your relationships, like the ones that actually count and matter, I feel like they don't go away, but the ones that were just kind of superficial or because you guys like lived on the same dorm floor or whatever, those kind of just like, they're just not there anymore.
Right.
But the important ones like almost get stronger as you kind of go and travel and grow. So
100% makes sense.
Have you had the same experience?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's nothing really to add to it. It's just this facts.
Yeah.
I still live in Iowa. I don't go anywhere.
Dude.
It doesn't matter, but business has gone light years. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like just the fact that like it just goes back to it. If you were to try and balance relationships, even with good friends, it's still hard to do that, and then that takes away from your dreams and your goals. So wherever you live, it doesn't fucking matter. Like honestly, it's like I think about it all the time. I wish I could live in Iowa and do what I'm doing. But it's virtually almost impossible.
Yeah. I think what you're doing is a lot harder than what I'm doing. Because if I was here, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'd be grabbing like 20 coffees a week with friends and stuff like that. I would be distracted as hell.
It's easy for that.
Living here, you don't get phone calls anymore when you are obsessed in tunnel vision. So yeah, you definitely don't get the calls you used to, because I was that guy. Like every night I'm like, what are we doing tonight? Where are you guys going to be? Where are you going to be here? I'm that extroverted soul, but now it's like, if I want to get here, all these other things are going to stop me from getting to that point. So, you know, what's most essential and what's not essential, get to know.
I would learn it like if people want to come to every time I'm in LA, when I'm in LA, which is rare now, but like being there, people fly in and they're like, hey, I'm in LA, we should link up. And it happens all the time because people want to go to LA and have vacations and do shit. And obviously they know me, so they want me to come and fucking take them somewhere or do whatever. And I'm like, I was doing it, and after a while I'm like, it becomes this task because you're like, all right, I gotta show these people this shit. It's gonna take all day long. It's taking money. It does all this stuff why am I a tour guide? You know what I mean? And I'm like, I get, like, I haven't seen certain people. It's like, obviously you make time for the people that matter, but at a certain point I'm like, people would hit me up that I haven't seen in forever. I'm like, we didn't even hang out when I lived by you or whatever. You just hit me up because I'm out here and you remember me clearly because you see me post shit on the internet. I'm doing cool stuff now, so you want to, you know what I mean? That happens all the time. And I'm like, I can't, like, I have to, as soon as you cut that shit out, it's like, all right, cool, that just saved me an entire day. Even on jobs, I noticed it, like, I got to a point, and this goes back to saying yes so you can say no. It's like delegating. This becomes key, especially with you with your podcast. He's saying he wishes he could have video in his podcast. But there's mad kids that are inspired by you, 3,000 of them, 4,000 of them, 5,000 of them, however many people are listening to your shit every day. Those people come in, and one of them would love for the opportunity to have guidance from you. And obviously you don't have a lot of time to provide guidance, but just clearly putting people on and delegating certain things offers a lot of value because now people can hear the way you think and build the way you think. So me taking a break from editing my own podcast and cutting 3 cameras and recording it and producing it, adding intro, doing all this shit, all the stuff that adds so much time out of my day, by getting an intern and saying like, all right, cool, who cares enough to like want to work with me? And all of a sudden I had a shit ton of people asking. And then I give one kid an opportunity to edit my podcast, and for 2 months this person's not only doing what I'm asking for, providing mad insight and offering me things that I didn't even know I could be doing with my podcast. That kid ends up becoming my fucking assistant for Coachella. I never met him before, and he flew overnight and got the job the next day. I hit him up like, yo, you could do this. I think you'd do well with this. Didn't know this kid. Then the next 9 months, he's on tour with me doing Beyonce shit, shooting for Beyonce and Jay. Like, I let him do that shit. And that would have came, like, now he's like my right hand in Black Without Cream. So it's crazy. By delegating that, it not only saved me time, but it built me a powerful relationship, and this person is able to work with me on my business bigger than I ever thought, and I did not know this person. And now we have 2 interns that are doing the podcast now that me and Dave are both overseeing. It's delegating so much, and I'm providing them insight and offering them opportunities. That shit changes the game. So I've been able to say no to certain things and spend those hours like, oh shit, do you want to come over here and make this money doing this? And I'm like, all right. Normally, yeah, because rent, it is what it is. But if I could find a way to say no to that, spend 8 hours doing this shit that might not make me money, but it will build to a place where it will make money and it'll pay for itself over and over again. Like, that's so important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard to get to that spot. It's hard to say no. It's hard to let people do your shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, letting go of the podcast editing and show notes and everything. Like
You're
pretty
so
much I just,
particular.
yeah, oh my God, I'm the pickiest person ever.
Yeah.
All I do is artwork and big picture. And
But you learned. That's the
oh
thing.
yeah,
You
I learned hard.
So
yeah.
someone's gonna learn. Yeah, that's, if you can allow someone to have the time to learn, you can massage them and farm them into that. And that's the whole thing. It's like now I taught Dave didn't know how to fucking handle a client. He didn't know how to do all. I've taught him so much shit, and he's killing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's killing it. And there's the next Scotty. You know what I mean? Yeah, you have the next little Scotty, but it's gonna be a few years before.
Trade money the
Skid
four.
mark gonna be
Skid mark.
Yeah, he's gonna make it. You know what I mean?
Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got another one.
Go for it.
All right. Take care of your body and the mind will follow.
I suck at that.
Dude, yeah, but I'm getting
Creatives
better.
suck at it in general.
Yeah.
I'm bad. I'm getting better at it. I noticed a huge difference from, I mean, even when I think about when I was 18, I was drinking Mountain Dew, playing Xbox like 4 hours a day, not exercising, not moving, you know.
Your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just sitting there.
Yeah, just like
That's crazy.
moving thumbs. I think about that, and then I think about like, you know, having anxiety, depression, all that stuff, and then how I feel when I'm active and exercising and stuff. I feel much more fresh, and I feel like, I don't know. You probably get it a lot just from running around with a camera all the time, I would assume. If you're sitting and editing all day, is there a difference between that and when
100%.
you're, yeah.
Yeah. My body changes. Like my body has changed from getting off tour, going home, and then I'm fully focused on Black Window Cream and editing, doing all these things, which is just me behind my laptop. And it's as soon as the hard part is delegating the time, like your hour a day or whatever it may be to go to the gym, which like I cannot wait to get home and pay for a gym membership. But I'm like, why would I pay for a gym membership? I'm only gonna be here for like 2 weeks, and then I have to fly to New York real quick and then come right back here, and I know I'm gonna be tired and not want to work out anyway. Like, why do it? And then now, to me, I cannot wait to get home and start creating that and implementing it. But wake up, I could go out and run. I'm being lazy and not saying, oh, I need a gym to do the workout. I could do this shit in my living room and do push-ups and shit, but I don't know why I just get tunnel vision and just sit there, and then all of a sudden I feel my body change. I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah, I hauled a yoga mat with me around the world, and I remember being in these hostels that had like three beds stacked on top of them with like 2 feet in between. I'd like roll my yoga mat out there, and I'm just like, sorry guys, I gotta get this in, because otherwise I'm gonna be a miserable piece of shit. And
That's good.
You're better at this than both of us.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm a beefcake.
oh whatever, get out of here.
But you said that early. Was that in high school when you started? Like, were you working out hard? I mean, you played sports your whole life.
College football, like that really drilled it in. But
in high school, were you doing gym training? Do they do that with like?
yeah, they work you out. You had like early morning workouts for high school too.
That shit. I wish I would have stuck with the sport in high school. That would have put me into.
See, like I need that. I gotta release the endorphins to like feel good.
didn't
Because
even
growing
learn.
up, I wasn't feeling good. I don't want to like revert back to that kid who lives inside me, that little inner critic. So yeah, I have to go exercise those demons out, literally. Yeah, and that's like my sanctuary time. So.
Do you notice a difference in your creativity when you do versus when you don't go to the gym?
Oh, for sure. Putting like life, health, and mental or physical and mental health first. So what Tony Robbins, where your focus goes, energy flows. So the more I like do show up in the gym and all that, like my energy elsewhere is on another level. It makes it easier to get up. It makes me feel better where I'm not like sinking into those depressed slumps again where I'm like, fuck, I don't want to create. I'm just gonna, hit the snooze. The negotiation starts when that alarm goes off, and when I'm like getting in the gym and everything regularly, I don't give in. I don't give into that negotiation. I'm just like, yep, I'm up. It's time to grind. Rise and grind. So, yeah, that's important when I haven't been, especially like after Scotty's been bored. I'm hitting the gym twice a week. I definitely feel a lull in my productivity or my mindset, even happiness, I guess. The anxiety starts creeping back into. So, yeah, I deal with anxiety on the daily. I get it.
Yeah, I never used to think that I got, this is in line with that. I never used to think I got hangry until I was traveling and walking 5-10 miles a day. and I would just find myself like somewhere, just all of a sudden, just in like the most pissed off, grumpy mood. And I'd be
This
like,
dude a
"What's
fucking Snickers.
Yeah,
Like, being a
please, yeah.
diva.
like, what's
Yeah.
going on?" And then I'd eat, and I would be like, "Oh man, I feel better." And it's the same thing for me with exercising as well. It's like, if you don't take care of that stuff, it'll take care of you eventually.
I feel it when I work out. Like when I got off my first tour, I gained so much weight. I weighed like 203 pounds or some shit, and that's not for me. And my doctor told me I was overweight. He's like, "Man, like this is actually overweight for your size and whatever however they calculate that shit." And I started doing cycling and some like, I don't know, whatever you call the classes where you like doing high intensity shit for
Zumba.
Yeah, I was doing fucking dancing. But I lost like 30 pounds and it was sick and I felt great. And when we were doing cycling, there was like this point in my mind, there's like 2 challenges. Is like I would start it and I'd be like, all right, fuck yeah, I'm ready to go. And then 10 minutes into it, I start zoning out and I start thinking about all this other shit that I want to be doing. And then I start having this battle where I'm like, I should do that right now. Like I have another half hour, fuck this class, I should get out of here. And that half hour is so valuable to me. And after there's like a breaking point where like I got past it and then it happens and you're done. And I don't know it's so hard to get over that hump of that. But then as soon as it's done, I'm like, fuck yeah, that was perfect for me. But it's something about just starting and shit. Like that's like the hardest part is just getting in there.
I can relate 110%. So I that's one reason I pay for classes, like pay for a personal trainer.
Yeah, like that helps.
Yeah, because then I can't, like I've paid for it. I'm not gonna try to escape
made the investment.
room. Yeah, you know. And if I have somebody that's like, "Where the hell are you going?" Like, "Get back here." I'm like, "Oh shit, I gotta finish this." You know. Where if it's just me, I'll be like, "Oh man, I need to go check. Did I send that email? Shit."
Yeah, you can come up with a million excuses that just make it more about like, yeah, this is okay, fuck it, I'll work out next. I'll work out in 2019.
Someday, yeah.
That's literally what I've done the whole time. It sucks.
Planning on working out in 2019. This is your year.
This is my year, man. My brother started laughing at me. He's like, yeah, right. 2016, I remember he picked me up on New Year's Eve. He literally just told me this today. And he's like, you came out and you were like, new year, new me, blah, 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 I'm fucking over it. And then like later that night, I picked up like 2 pizzas. I'm like, yo, Sean, come over here, we're gonna eat. He's like, new year, new me, what the fuck? Damn, trash.
Pizza sounds really good, right?
Pizza does sound good, right? It's like,
All right, let's jump back into this. Anybody want one that they're chomping at the bit to say?
I can say one neither of you will probably be into or would do. I had make YouTube videos consistently. I don't know if that applies to you guys, if you guys are trying to make YouTube videos, but I feel like I love that YouTube space, and I feel like there's so much opportunity within YouTube, especially right now. It's just like fucking exploding over the last year. But I've always started and stopped, and it's been a huge struggle for me because I think it can teach a lot through YouTube, and I'm planning to do it a lot more this year. But if I would have had my channel, which I had a channel when I was 18, but imagine if I had done a video every week since I was 18. You know what I mean? 12 years of YouTubing.
Yeah.
You would have been bigger than Casey Neistat.
Motherfucking OG. But I slipped, so. But I think there's just consistency, especially in this world. If you're trying to do YouTube, it's like it's all just about being consistent. Same thing applies to every other field or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're doing Instagram or whatever, just
Consistency over time.
mad value.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a quick one.
Yeah, it's really fast.
Since you were talking about pizza that New Year's, you know, not only do I want pizza right now, but this is like my favorite saying. This is my daily motto. We talked about it on my episode with you back in July, but you can't make everyone happy. You are not pizza. And that's would be the main thing I would tell my 18-year-old self, because like growing up, it was not easy. You desired to be popular. So everything I said, actor did, and I was trying to get someone to like me or approval. And it, you know, I never was like happy with myself, and I could never find my groove with my work until I stopped caring about what everybody else was gonna think. Is this post gonna pop off? You know, is this episode gonna, you know, is this what I think someone wants to hear? And it was I'm just like, you know, screw it. I'm not pizza. I'm gonna figure out what I like. I'm gonna stay in my own lane and do me. And when I started doing this, that's when it started attracting these like-minded tribes of freaks who like the same weird shit I like, of pizza, outer space, coffee, you know, and cats. And it wasn't until I started just owning my weird and embracing what the things that made me different, waving my freak flag, is when I started to crack the code of what made me happy and what I now know people want for content. So this is different than like doing client work. You got to do what clients want, but when you're trying to build your own personal brand or create or find your groove and produce content, you got to do what you want first. Find what sparks you and interests you instead of worrying about creating what you think other people wish to see in the world. So stop trying to be pizza.
Yeah.
Love that.
Not everyone's gonna love you, and then not everybody needs to.
Yep.
In fact, it's better if they don't.
Unless your name's Papa John.
Papa John.
John Papa John.
So I have one that's really similar. It's just like stop trying to prove your worth. So
How do you tie this into pizza, though?
shit, I don't know.
All right, go on.
I don't know how to tie it into pizza, but
Damn it, I was trying to think of something fun.
I know I was trying to think of something too, and then I tried too hard. If you think of it while I'm talking, just interrupt me.
I won't. I'm not good at that.
Yeah. I was talking to
So know your worth?
just stop trying to prove your worth.
Prove your worth. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's so I was having this conversation with a friend of mine that I met traveling, and he's really smart dude. Hopefully he's watching this. He's gonna be like, "You're damn right I am." His name's Arpad, and he was talking one day, and he's like, I developed these formulas for how people operate or behave, and I was like, all right, smart ass, like, how do I operate then? And he's like, he looks at me and he's like, I haven't quite figured it out yet. I don't quite have a fully formed formula. And I'm like, just tell me, I'm like, go ahead. And he looked at me and he was like, you don't have much respect for the people that you grew up with, but for some reason you're still seeking their approval. And I was like, oh, snap. And then he asked me another question. He's like, do you think that everyone deserves to be loved? And I was like, yeah, of course, everybody. He's like, and why don't you? I was like, oh.
Why don't you love everyone?
No. He's like, why don't you deserve to be loved?
Oh.
And I was like, oh, shit.
That's interesting.
I'm like, oh, that's real. And so I spent a ton of time thinking about it, and I think that through traveling and exploring and seeing new things, that just kind of developed on its own, and I kind of just stopped worrying about growing up. Like, I don't know, I kind of let go of like the animosity I had towards maybe people I grew up with that didn't accept me for who I was then.
Right.
And then as soon as I let that go, all of a sudden I stopped giving a shit about trying to prove anything.
Trying to be pizza.
Yeah, trying to be pizza.
It's dope.
Yeah,
Deep
deep.
dish.
Deep dish. There you go, now we tied it in.
Yeah,
Deep dish
I got
pizza.
it. What'd you have?
I'm looking at my list. I think that people shouldn't be afraid to raise their price.
Instead of trying to prove your worth, then you got to know your worth.
Yeah, you got to know your worth. And I think that it goes back to starting out, and I remember doing the same thing. You're charging $20 an hour, and you're doing this work, and I didn't even know that I could do more. I didn't know that you could charge more, or even do just a rate in general, not versus hours, and maybe you could do a whole project. But it's like understanding your value and being able to demand that initial cost or whatever it may be, or fight for it. You don't have to always send. I don't remember how many times I've sent a client like a estimate or just told them what my cost is, and being fearful or feeling like I need to send an apology with it. Hey man, I need $1,000.
Or explain yourself.
Yeah, I feel like the $1,000, like I need
lot.
that for this and that, and like technically I'm gonna work way more than that, and the stuff. You know what I mean? For like, and that might be, I mean, I could be underselling myself, but I feel like you always had to apologize or feel like
Justify,
bad about
yeah.
trying to. It's like that's fucking stupid. Like I don't feel bad about going in. Like I'm not mad at Apple for charging me $3,000 on my laptop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's paid for itself a million times.
Yeah.
Like. It's just, that's it. But when I buy something off the shelf versus have to negotiate a freelance job, it's like I feel like I am, the world around us has made us feel like we need to cripple for others, which is super unfair, but it is what it is. And so you're trained to feel like you're not allowed to put a mark on your value or whatever and sell it. So.
Especially in our fields of videography, getting hired for it, or me design needs or creates like artistic custom work, you always have someone that's gonna low bid your ass anyway.
Right.
So in your mind, you're like, oh shit, maybe I won't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people will do that all the time where they'll just be like, how much should I charge for this? And I always go back to it. So once you feel, and I think this was part of my thing, it was like once you feel like you can create quality content and you know that you're providing real shit, not just like, hey, I got fucking all these cameras and I'm a videographer and I need fucking $50 an hour, I need $100
Depth
an
and
hour.
substance.
Yeah, just because you have the shit and you made one video, like people ask it in my community, they ask it all the time. Hey guys, I just got hired to do my first concert. I'm wondering how much I should charge them. Don't charge them a fucking goddamn thing because you never shot a concert. Like go shoot the concert, see how bad you are at it, figure out how to become better, and when you become good at it and shoot 10, 15, 25 concerts, then you can charge whatever. You know what I mean? You could always say like, hey, I'm learning like this and that, and I know I'm not great, and if you want to buy me like lunch, that'd be cool for the show. Like I'm gonna be there. I don't want to pay for my own lunch, but I'm giving you hopefully some content. You can negotiate that, but until you are like capable of providing real quality, don't fucking charge an arm and a leg for some shit. You know what I mean? Like you're not there yet. Like you have to learn. This is a very much of like a learning curve. But people ask that all the time, and I'm like, you just have to know your worth and know like what you want to make in a salary. You know what I mean? Like even if you are able to provide quality, like what do you want to make a year? What is your ideal like physical number that you want to create, and then divide that out. So if you're trying to go on tour, how much should you charge to go on tour per month? Well, how much, how long are you gonna be gone? Blah, 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 blah. You have to think of those things. So just creating just being able to create properly and provide your client with something that's like going to really like be worth their money.
Yeah.
And then don't feel fucking bad about charging them that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got, Scotty?
This is kind of my last one. So I heard this from Lewis House. I attended Summit of Greatness, which is a fucking insane story in itself, for real. That's crazy how these things happen. And he said this thing that truly made me believe like these are the opportunities that come your way. So money and opportunities will come to you when you're ready, and you have to take the initiative to put in the work. And the more I keep busting my ass and keeping someone in mind of who am I providing value for, and doing things, showing up when it's not convenient, the more these opportunities keep landing in my lap, and the more I keep doubling down my focus, then all of a sudden, I might be stressed about money, but I'm always like, okay, I'm good, something will happen, and then an opportunity does happen that provides more than enough or opens that next opportunity. So money and opportunities come to you when you're ready, but it's up to you to put yourself in a position and be prepared for when they come. Mm-hmm. So the more I keep busting my ass, and we're talking about the monetization of things, I feel like I'm just on the cusp of like that next thing coming my way, and I just gotta keep grinding. Mm-hmm. But with more intent and focus and actually knowing that vision. Like everything we keep talking about, we all have this vision that we're working towards, and I'm finally having that clarity on it, and like I know what I want. I know where I want to be in 5-10 years, and now I feel like those opportunities and the finances will come sooner now that I like truly know what I'm working towards. Instead of that long game, instead of the short game only, I had that long game in mind. Now I can be more strategic with things.
Yeah.
So good things are coming. Good things come to those who grind.
Hell
for sure.
fucking yeah.
So I combined two of them together. It's
efficient.
Yeah, very efficient.
Cool.
So turn off the TV or the screen or whatever, and then just talk to someone you care about, like your family. I'm thinking specifically of my family, but talk to them and then just listen. I think I have a habit of probably talking too much when I'm having quality time with people. I'm always like, oh, I got to tell you this story. I got to tell you this or that. And I think that when I'm spending time with close friends or family or whoever, I should probably take some more time to actually listen to like what they have to say, their life experience, their advice.
That's a skill set all in itself. Mm-hmm. Listening.
Yeah, 100%. Absorb that shit. Like you went to the conference and you listened to fucking 2 days of just valuable information.
Biggest badass. And they also said never be the smartest person in the room. Listening is key. So like they literally said the same thing. So yes, you're very much right.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
My last one was break the rules. And I don't just mean like break the rules that are posted in the hall at school.
Go do meth on a school property or anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Cool.
No, I'm thinking like there's people that are at least for me, there was always people that were like, oh, well, you're not good at that. You shouldn't do that. Or you should do things this way. You can't do that until this point in time. And I even think about like, I mean, I told you a bit before, like in the springtime, like my shit went completely south for a short period of time where I was like, damn, this is not good. And then I'm like, I'm planning on leaving the country and traveling full time. And if people could have seen the amount of money I had in my bank account when I left, they'd have been like, this guy's lost his fucking mind. And I was like, no, I'm going. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm gonna figure it out. But so it's like, you think about that, like every time somebody said, I don't know if anybody ever told you this, but they're like, oh, you know, Scotty, maybe drawing's not your thing.
I've had that, or podcasting, or
Yeah.
I'm trying too hard, this isn't for me. Yeah, I've had all of it.
Yeah, and it's like, that's their rules. And so mine is just, fuck their rules and break them.
I think there's a nice spin to that too, is learn the rules so you can break them. Like in my world, that's a big thing too,
Yeah.
you know, especially in like hand lettering or illustration or just drawing practices or podcasting. It's know the basics, know the fundamentals, know the techniques, and then you can bend and break rules from there. So like that's another avenue of breaking rules that resonates with me.
Yeah. So last message you'd like to leave everyone with?
Just being a good person in general, like outputting as much like positive energy into like everybody around you is like the most key thing, and giving back like that. I feel like that's like the whole point of me doing Black with No Cream and creating like this place where creators can come and get together and shit. It's like if I can give as much, there's gonna be tons of little minions that are gonna go out and do dope shit. You know what I mean? And if they can at some point be like, the root came from here.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool for me. If it doesn't, it is what it is. If they don't credit it, I don't give a fuck. But like the idea is just to create as much positive shit as possible, so that way everyone else around you is like just moving forward in a great direction and can continue to create and build. And
Energy is real, man. And if you have that mindset of like, if someone has an interaction with me, how did I leave them off a better person? Like if you can like approach each day with a mindset like that, you'll get those relationships and a lot of good fortune will come your way, for sure.
Yeah.
If I'm wrapping this all up, okay. 1, stop worrying about pleasing the world. Focus on pleasing yourself. Put your energy into yourself. The focus, the energy will flow. And find that thing that really sets your spirit on fire. Go balls out for it forever, how long it needs to be, even if it's just a season. And be consistent and consistency. And don't be a dick.
don't be a dick.
Be consistent. Find what lights your spirit up and don't be a dick.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap for this show. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Trevor Carlson, and I appreciate you taking the time to stop by, and whether it's viewing our episodes or listening to our podcasts or reading our blog posts, all of you guys really help keep this show going. So I much appreciate your time and attention, and hopefully we provided a little bit of value for you. Now, if you're interested and you think you might enjoy getting some blog posts, emails, other podcasts, guides, any of that sort of thing sent to your inbox every week, go ahead and head over to theformulapodcast.com and sign up for our email list today. That's a wrap for this week's show. Thanks again, everyone, for stopping by, and I look forward to you tuning in next time.